They chose their king, their power was met, but we don't answer to Ottawa yet. No crown gave us what we've earned, just dirt and fire and lessons learned. Now the ground it shakes, the steel it groans, and Alberta walks alone. We ride sovereign steel through fire, through frost. We ain't the last, we're the line they lost. Alberta stands, never on its knees. A nation born in the forge of the free. From the rigs to the rails, the crops to the code, we lit their streets, we bore their load. They laughed at pride, they mocked the West, but freedom don't die, it just waits for the test. The cowboys ride, the farmers rise, 5 million strong under open skies. No leash, no lie, no foreign throne. This land is steel and it stands alone. We ride sovereign steel through fire, through frost. We ain't the last, we're the line they lost. Alberta stands, never on its knees. A nation born in the forge of the free. Can't kill the mountain, can't drown the plain, can't burn the spirit that won't be chained. He stares down east with a calloused hand and says, this time we draw the line in the land. We ride sovereign steel through fire, through frost. We ain't the last, we're the line they lost. Alberta stands, never on its knees. A nation born in the forge of the free.
Holy smokes, welcome. It's 7-Eleven Daily Summary. Rushol here. I am excited to be here with you as I always tell you, what an extraordinary time to be alive. I am so grateful that you're here with me and that we're able to discuss these issues that we've got going on. So thank you very much for being here. Make sure to share this out there. Wake more Canadians, more Albertans up to what we need them to wake up to. I appreciate you being here. Like I said, make sure to share this out. We have to break through. Obviously, we are shadow banned left, right, and center. It is very hard to get this message out, but I appreciate you doing the work. Just share it out to one person. Just if one person shares it to another, that old saying, you share it to two people, they share it to two people, that sort of thing. That would be fantastic. Again, I am grateful that you're here. So God bless you all. Thank you so much for participating in your own freedom and being here with Unscrew the News. Bruce Scholl here. And it is a glorious day in the province of Alberta. I am so grateful that we do live here at this point. But we're going to make it even better. So stick around, do up your seatbelts, turn up the volume, and get ready for a good show. It's just me tonight. We're going to talk about some of the stuff, some of the main topics of what's gone on. I haven't had a lot of time to do that. I've had a lot of guests on recently, and tomorrow night's no no different. They're going to have Dr. Dennis Modry from the Alberta Prosperity Project on tomorrow night. And we're going to talk obviously about Alberta independence and what they've been up to. I want to get a sense of from what he's seen, because they've done hundreds and hundreds of town halls. So I'm excited to have him on again. And then I just talked to Jason Levine from the Jason Levine Show, and he's going to be on Wednesday night. So tomorrow night, Dr. Dennis Modry. And Wednesday night, my very first time talking to Jason Levine from the Jason Levine Show. I'm excited to have him. We just firmed this up. So he has been working very hard himself on Alberta independence, and I appreciate all the work that he's done. So we're going to continue to push forward like bulldozers that we are here in Alberta, and we're going to be talking to more and more people, waking them up to the fact that there's nothing to fear about moving forward and becoming our own nation. Well, there's a lot to fear. Sorry, I shouldn't say that. There's more to fear about staying stagnant and continuing to be the abused. We've had 120 years of this garbage. I'm just about done with it. I hope that you are as well. Anyway, let's get on with it. Like I said, I appreciate you being here. We're going to have a great show tonight. The next couple of nights, I've got some fantastic guests. We're going to continue to push forward on Alberta independence. Guys, you know what? I don't look at this as it's potential. I look at this as it's inevitable. It's 100% inevitable. It's going to happen. We are going to be a sovereign nation at some point. And that's just the way I view it. I don't know. I don't know about you. I don't know where you sit as far as your faith, but when I sit and take the words of God, that's what I feel. It feels like that's where we are. We got to push forward, and we're going to continue to march forward together as a team. And to answer, during the AGM, the UCP AGM, I had a chance to talk to Ezra Levant briefly. And it was interesting because he suggested that we need a vibrant and very exuberant, I guess, leader to take us there. And he expressed opinion that it wasn't going to be a Jeffrey Rath, or it wasn't going to be a Daniel Smith, and I agree to a certain extent. But I don't think that we need a leader at this stage. I think that as we move through the process, that leader is going to expose themselves. It's going to bubble up during this process, and the leader will emerge as we need them to. But I think it's better as a team, as freedom fighters, people that want sovereignty and want freedom for Alberta. We just move forward, and we take this ball and we move it downfield. So let's get into it anyway. I always like to start off by saying thank you. Thank you to the Lord. Thank you to my family. Thank you to my friends that have been beside me. And I don't know about you, but my group of friends really changed over the last 5 years. And the challenges that we went through really shaped me into the person I am today. It changed drastically, I believe, because of obviously the roadblocks and the challenges that we faced. And so I appreciate that. And I do appreciate, where I'm at this point because of those situations. So, but another thing on top of that, I do appreciate local businesses. I love supporting local businesses, and I have some great people that are behind me in this project called Unscrew the News. One of them being nuggetsdecker.com. And I am not your financial advisor, but I do suggest holding gold and silver to protect your family's wealth. It is a great place to store wealth. And if you haven't gone down this road, if you have some questions, give them a call, 1-866-644-2121, and they will answer all the questions that you might have. But I do suggest getting a gold and silver subscription. Just sign it up, $100 a month, whatever you can afford. If it's $50 a month, but $100 a month, and will accumulate. And once you reach the allotted amount, whatever that is, let's say it's 10 ounces of silver or it's 1 ounce gold coin, it'll be shipped to you anywhere in Canada, virtually free. So I think it's anything over $600 is free. So give them a call. And I don't normally do this, but I really want to say thanks to Kailani Outdoors as well. And I'm going to show you this because they have been fantastic to me. This is another friend right here in Calgary. And so you can go right through my website, go to obviously unscrewthenews.com, scroll down, then you see Nugget Stacker. You can click on that, get a bit of a discount if you click on that logo, as well as Kailani Outdoors. And I'm going to click on this guy right here, and I'm not going to be able to see it. I don't know why. Let's just see if we can find it. No, I can't. Anyway, Kailani Outdoors. Click on that link here. Why am I not going? Anyway, click. Let's see if that one works. Oh, that one works. Okay. So we're going to click on the link for Kailani Outdoors. Fantastic coolers. He is the supplier of my coffee mugs. Great engraving on there. And Kailani Outdoors, right here in Calgary. This is like the Yeti of Canada. So support local. Go to KailaniOutdoors.com and I'll give you a bit of a discount if you say that you came for me. Anyway, we're going to move on to unscrewing some news here. I'm going to get back to the page that I was on. But I'm coming to you from the heart of the battle-ready nation of Alberta. We bring you truth and optimism. Our goal is to break free from the media globalist mind control. It is December 8th, 2025. This is the last month of 2025. Can you believe it? There's so much going on. This is episode number 233. Mutiny in America, Alberta Sovereignty is what I called this. And I think we're going to start off with Alberta sovereignty because this is definitely a push. This is definitely something that we are focused on right now. Jeffrey Rath, Daniel Smith here in this little picture. But I've got you know what? I've got another video teed up here. We're going to move to this one first. And this is John Bolton and Jeff Rath. And let's just, I want to hear this for a few minutes. So let me just get this ready here. All right. Stand by. We'll listen in here for a few minutes.
Judge, we got a ruling from the Alberta legislature in the form of a document called Bill 14 that basically tells the judge that he cannot rule in this case and that the case is to be dismissed without cost to all parties. And when the judge got a letter from the province to that effect yesterday, probably around 4 o'clock, I think he got so angry that the legislature was interfering in his court case that he stayed up all night and wrote a 63-page decision that he released from the bench this morning to preempt the legislature preempting his ruling on the court case. Okay,
yeah,
so are you guys following me on this? So
yeah, well, no, I'm following you. I was gonna come back around to that, but it's fine to start there because I mean I spoke with Mitch earlier about this, and he's quite optimistic about what's going on here, and that's why.
Yeah, I see it as like before, like I don't like anybody characterizing this ruling as a loss for us. I see it as a win, right? Yeah. Because the legislature pre-ruled to say that they're getting rid of the very section that we were in court over, which frames a very narrow question, right?
You're right.
And I think that the judge was so annoyed that the legislature took away what was going to be his favorite toy this Christmas, which was writing a very lengthy, treatise on all of the reasons that Albertans shouldn't, want to separate from Canada. He was rushed in that by the legislature, basically saying that the case was to be dismissed. So he rushed out this decision from the bench. And I have to say, with the greatest of respect to the learned justice, for whom I do have a lot of, a great respect as a constitutionalist, a lot of what he says in this judgment just doesn't make sense. And, and I guess it's an open question as to whether anybody would appeal it, whether we'd appeal it or the Alberta court or the Alberta justice would appeal it, because it's entirely moot at this point. It's largely, once Bill 14 gets passed, it's entirely irrelevant. To use one of the judge's words, I think Keith Wilson said it on a podcast that's kind of a nothing burger now.
Mhm.
But, you know, there's some things that he did in there, you know, that I think kind of that bear comment. Like on page 5, you know, he's criticizing, you know, Mitch Sylvester.
Do this trick before going to bed if you want to save your brain from dementia. A spoonful of honey and cinnamon before.
You know, for the forming of the question. And he says the referendum proposal cannot take the position in this case that the referendum proponent cannot take the position in this case that his constitutional referendum proposal is just a legally inconsequential consultation with Alberta, or that the substance of his constitutional referendum proposal is something other than Alberta independence when his question is intended to secure a popular mandate from Albertans for separation that will trigger obligations under the Clarity Act. But the problem you have is in him saying that, he's completely ignoring the secession reference at the Supreme Court, which says that a referendum itself is not legally binding. It's merely a political exercise that has no legal impact. And then he says, you've got to jump ahead to what the, you know, what the net result is going to be. You know, that you have to look at, you know, what the, you know, like you have to presume that the amendments to the Constitution that are sought under the referendum would in fact take place. And then he says, because we assume that those amendments would take place, we then have to, you know, we then on that basis say that these amendments contravene rights that are guaranteed under the, you know, under the Charter and under Section 35(1). The problem with that legal reasoning from a constitutional perspective is that if we assume that the amendments took place, don't we also have to assume that the amendments took place in a legal manner within the constitutional framework? At which point they don't contravene anybody's constitutionally protected rights.
Wow. Okay. So things are moving quickly. And I did have a guest on last night, in case you missed it. It was Nadine Wellwood. And she is obviously an independence proponent and has been speaking about independence for a number of years. But she's a great guest to have on. And yeah, we discussed obviously the judge's decision versus the Bill 14. This was a new twist on it that I hadn't heard, that the judge, you know, rushed this decision out because of Bill 14. So I think it's really interesting, and it looks like we're moving quite quickly forward. Excuse me. We're moving quickly forward towards a referendum. And I can't wait just to, you know, get that out there. But I am a little bit leery about the powers that be that will probably try to put roadblocks in front of us. So one of the messages that I had last night was, and I have the same message day in, day out, moving forward until we actually have our referendum, until we have sovereignty here in Alberta, is that we have to be vigilant and we have to keep our eyes open for the nasty players that will be out there trying to trip us up in this process. So it should be a very, very interesting process, you know, taking us to our national sovereignty. I want to touch a little bit about Alberta and some of the bookmarks that I've made in regard to posts on X recently about Alberta sovereignty and about the depths of disparity here in Canada, and some of the reasons why we are making these decisions, why we're moving forward, and why it's so challenging. But also it gives us the reasoning behind making these moves. So here's one thing from Gen Xer Canada, I guess is his handle. Oops, I lost it there. I want to zoom in on this guy so I can bring this in a little bit closer. On today's episode of Businesses Leaving Canada Due to Carney and the Liberals, 7-Eleven. I'm going to go back here. Just make sure I've got this pulled up as close as I can so it's nice and easy to read and watch. All right, so stand by.
Just got hit with the kind of shutdown shock that nobody saw coming. And it starts with 7-Eleven pulling the plug on stores nationwide. This isn't a branding change or a quiet restructuring. It's the clearest sign yet that Canada's everyday economy is breaking under pressure. And the part in Ottawa that nobody wants to admit, if even 7-Eleven can't survive the conditions that Mark Carney created, then this crisis is a lot bigger than convenience stores.
At least 2 other 7-Elevens not on the list have also closed, including this one on McPhillips and this one on Pembina. 7-Eleven could not be reached for comment about why the stores shut their doors.
We are now, having to find new places and new ways to get those things. And of course, the prices are different, very different.
I need you to understand how big this is. 7-Eleven didn't choose a handful of weak stores. They unleashed the largest shutdown wave in the chain's North American history, wiping out hundreds of locations and dragging Canada straight into the blast zone. This wasn't announced with transparency, maps, or community notices. Canadians woke up to dark windows, stripped shelves, and doors chained shut because the company decided entire regions were no longer worth keeping alive. It didn't hit Canada evenly. It slammed directly into Western Canada, the very region already carrying the economic weight of the country while getting the least protection from Ottawa. And the numbers make it impossible to pretend otherwise. Out of just over 550 Canadian 7-Elevens, nearly half of them sit in Alberta, BC, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba, with Alberta alone holding the single biggest cluster in the nation.
Due to declining sales and fewer customers, partly because of rising prices and less demand for cigarettes. These closures come as the company faces inflation pressures and shifting consumer habits. Out of its 13,000 stores in the US and Canada.
That means when 7-Eleven starts cutting, the first lights to go out aren't in downtown Toronto or Vancouver's luxury districts. They're in the prairie towns, the highway stops, and the working class neighborhoods when these stores aren't just convenience outlets, they're actual lifelines. In Alberta especially, losing a 7-Eleven isn't losing a snack shop. It's losing the place kids go gather after school, the late night community safe spot, that anchor in your town that stays open long after everything else shuts down.
Businesses have been saying for a long time, we're having challenges.
The Chamber says when stores like 7-Eleven are forced to close, those neighborhoods decline. It says there needs to be more enforcement and tougher consequences for chronic thieves.
We need government to step up and saying, we're not going to treat this like a victimless crime. We're going to treat it like the meaningful challenge to our community's well-being that it is.
And the irony Ottawa refuses to acknowledge, the West is the region propping up Canada's economy with energy, exports, and growth, yet it's also the region where the shutdown fallout is landing the hardest. So when Western storefronts go dark first, it sends a message louder than any press conference Carney can hold. The economic stress is strongest where the country depends on stability the most. And every closed sign in Alberta or Manitoba is proof that the system is cracking right at its foundation.
In the U.S. by the end of the year.
All right, I'm sharing with you a story. Unfortunately, I don't have any video or photos of the event, but I got to share this with you because when I heard this story about 7-Eleven, I have a personal story that I need to share. So I was in Edmonton, as you know, for the recent AGM for the UCP. And I decided I was going to go to a 7-Eleven on, I think it was Friday night. I was heading to go and have dinner with a friend, and there was a 7-Eleven close by. So relative to the story, I have to tell you that it was near the Royal Alexandra Hospital in Edmonton, and it happened to be the hospital that I was born at. But anyway, it was near this hospital. And apparently it has, or it has in recent history, had a safe injection site right on scene. I didn't know this. I didn't know I was close to this at the time. Anyway, I went into the 7-Eleven. I have to tell you the story because it was just so abysmal to see. But I pulled up to this Esso/7-Eleven thinking I was going to go and check my lotto tickets. And, it was later in the evening. So it was like 7-ish or something like that, 6:30ish. And so it was dark and it was -18, -19. So it was cold. As I pulled up, and in the window of the 7-Eleven, the only thing I could see was what I would call about 5 zombies just standing there. And you probably know what I mean if I'm talking about zombies. They're not literal zombies, but they are the fentanyl zombies of Alberta and Western Canada. Anyway, so as I pulled up, I questioned whether I go in, and of course I went in anyway. But as I walked in, the thing that really hit me the most was that all the shelves were gone. Like there was not a shelf on the floor. It was just an open floor. The shelves were all gone, so there was no chips, there was no chocolate bars, there was no licorice. Shelving for that whole thing was gone, and it was just an open floor. They had, obviously the fridges were still there, so they had drinks in the fridge, and then they had a couple of things over on the left hand side was like a counter for hot food or something like that. But I was really shook, and it kind of threw me off a bit. And I'm pretty used to scenarios like this because of my day in day out sort of life. But a guy sort of, one of the zombies moved towards me, and of course my spidey senses are going. But he comes towards me, and he has no shoes, so he has just sock and feet. And again, there's no shelves or anything, so we're just walking across this big dance floor in 7-Eleven. The long and short of my story is, it's just shocking to see how decrepit. This is just one part of Edmonton. I don't know what the rest of Edmonton was like, but this is what we've let our cities become. It was a zombie zone inside a 7-Eleven. They even had an Esso. Like I said, somebody obviously is not watching the ball. Esso probably doesn't want this to be their one of their flagship stores, and I'm wondering if maybe they're just in the midst of closing. I felt so bad for the staff. There was 2 young females, and they basically were protecting themselves by closing up the little gap between the counter with milk crates, plastic milk crates, to keep the zombies out. It was really a sad state, and unfortunately, this is our Alberta that we are living in today. We're going to clean this up. We're going to change this. Unfortunately, we're going to make Alberta a better place. And as a nation, I promise you, it will be a glorious place to bring up your children, and for generations to come, they're going to be glad that we did the hard work to become a nation, and the nation of Alberta that was sovereign from this corrupt, globalist utopia of complete. It is so hard to really give an adjective to the destruction that our governments, and I'm not just saying it's the Liberals, because it's not. It's one bird. It's like you have 2 wings on that one bird, and they're both the same. They're both this destructive. They're both globalists. They're so entrenched in the way that things have always worked, and there's no fixing it from this stage that I can see. We have a chance here in Alberta. We have one chance to fix and to save our way of life, so that we can hopefully take that forward for many generations to come, and be a beacon of hope to the rest of the world. But we have got to step up today. And if you're not doing enough, you know what? Just look at yourself. And if you think that there's something else that you can do, please, you've got to do it today. You've got to do it now, so that we can save what we have here in Alberta. All right, I'm going to go on. Enough of my ranting. This is from Mr. Sunshine Baby. He's out of BC, by the way. The province of Alberta, under the leadership of Danielle Smith, has created over 28,000 new jobs last month. This accounts for more than half of the total new jobs in the entire country. Alberta is carrying Canada forward. Well, you got that right. Here's a post by Yukon Strong. Alberta independence rose to prominence because of the good, hardworking people of Alberta received endless hate for simply wanting to be Canadians in Canada. Let that sink in. I thought that was well said. Antonio tweets the truth about Canada. And again, I'm pointing out this is not necessarily about Alberta, but I'm showing the decay that we are living with here in Canada. And really what we need, I consider Canada being like the Titanic, and we've got to build this life raft as quickly as we can and get the hell off of it, because it's going to suck us under. Let's listen to this girl here for a second.
90%. You know, your election that just happened, that entire election ran on the fear of Donald Trump. The news that you watch every single day, that you take as prophet and as gospel, all they do is talk about Donald Trump. Canada's great. My Lord, I wish I could live in that state of delusion all the time and not in reality. Canada's problems are 100% homegrown. In what world is Canada considered in great shape right now? Can we be real? We're going to be realistic here, okay? Between carbon taxes driving up prices everywhere, between record immigration without the housing or the infrastructure to handle that, okay? Between unaffordable housing anyway, whatever's available, people can't afford it anyway, okay? Food banks are maxed out, and the youth, young people can't even find jobs, man. Do you realize how sad that is? Okay, and there's homelessness everywhere you look in Canada. Do you want me to keep going? Because I probably can. Maybe we touch on just a couple of scandals. How about Arrive-Can or Brookfield, the blind trust that wasn't blind? There's billions of dollars gone, and Canadians are told to stop complaining. Do you remember when Carney, that you love so much, went on the air and said, Canadians are gonna have to suffer a little bit? Like, what? And I know I love that you love your sweet, precious Mark Carney, but the man has 3 fucking passports, okay? He lived more abroad than he did in Canada, and you are going to try and convince me that that man is in touch with what is actually going on in Canada? Be for real. Here's the thing, is you are 100% entitled to your opinion that you think Canada is great. And once upon a time, it was. So Canada may be great in your mind, but it also doesn't erase the mess that literally almost every single Canadian is dealing with right now. There are some people on this planet that prefer to live in reality than in La La Land, okay? Have a wonderful day.
It's home, right? All right. Moving through it. Eric Thorvaldson, like this guy. Good post. This is CW4 and New Republic of Alberta for all. Just remember, if so many are trying to stop Alberta from leaving, there must be a lot to lose for them. We are on the right track. Quebec will not be able to be a parasite any longer. They will become dysfunctional overnight. Well, we're not doing it for that, but I appreciate that. Bruce Party, I do want to get into his proposed Albertan Constitution at some point. I don't know if tonight's the night, but let's just look at this one from that Eric Thorvaldson had posted. Part 5. Number 5, no part of the state, including the legislature, executive, or judiciary alone, or in combination, has powers or jurisdiction, except as expressly provided in this Constitution. No part of the state has power or jurisdiction to provide for the common good, general welfare, public necessity, or emergency. Analysis. This is a draft constitution's structural cornerstone, explicitly enumerating and severely limiting state powers to prevent the expansive governance party views as inherently coercive. This provision enforces minimalist ethos, ensuring that the state operates as a mere referee rather than a paternalistic actor. Well, this is wonderful so far. As Party explains, to keep the state in check, this Constitution flips the default. It does not grant the state open-ended jurisdiction and attempt to add exceptions. Instead, it makes the state powerless except for powers expressly granted. Oh, this sounds so good. The intent is prophylactic. By disempowering the state, it safeguards Article 1's no force rule from dilution. The second sentence targets weasel words that enable mission creep. Example, Canada's peace, order, and good government clause or U.S. emergency powers under the Commerce Clause. In Alberta's context, it aims to liberate the province from federal intrusions, carbon taxes as public necessity, and internal bureaucracies, fostering a society where voluntary cooperation, not state fiat, addresses the needs. Party continues, the Constitution will grant the state jurisdiction to do three main jobs, and I'll end here. Keep the peace, police enforcing the prohibition on force. Resolve disputes about the use of force, courts, and protect the country from outside threats, military borders, international relations, and visitors. This is a great start, and I'm going to read some more of it in another day, so I appreciate that. And you can obviously find that from Bruce Party. Oh, let me see here. Just going to read this part. This is from Alberta Succession, some great posts as well. With sovereignty, Alberta gains the power to audit every dollar, to police our own borders, to manage our own debt levels, to run our own foreign policy, to prosecute foreign agents without parliamentary cover-ups, and to confront the fentanyl crisis with the urgency it demands. You know what? I just remembered I wanted to show you something. This was fun, so I'm going to share this. And I just found out that Tom here blocked me. I must be doing something right. I just found this out today, so interesting. We were talking about him last night. I don't know if that's what did it, but all right. Oh, Canada, what have we become, Sassy Gal? Canada ranks 8th in the world for highest homeless population. I'm not surprised. I don't know about you, but I am not surprised by any means. All right, Stephen Guilbeault admits that the Conservatives were right. Carney didn't cancel the carbon tax. He just raised it in somewhere else that's not visible. The Liberal government are nothing but liars and thieves. Do you agree? So in here, I'm not gonna make you listen to it, but he essentially agrees that they canceled the consumer carbon tax, but then they are increasing the industrial carbon tax. We all know that, though. It's not really that surprising. Oh, game one. Let me just see what this is. It's happening. Alberta Independence Referendum 2026. This is Corey Morgan. And I actually have this one teed up here. 1 second. Let me find it. And here it is. Let's just listen to Corey Morgan here for a second. You know what? I think that I got an error here on the sound, and you might not be hearing anything as far as sound is concerned. Oh, by the way, I love your comments. Email me, comment here on X, Rumble, YouTube, and I'd love to hear any of your comments live. Anyway, I'm not going to play Corey because I think that my sound on playing this back has just been knocked out. For some strange reason, I'll have to keep an eye on that one and figure that out. But I wanted to get into, we're going to switch gears because we're going to get into the mutiny in America. There is so much going on there. I'm going to play this to you. Oh, shoot. Okay, I don't know if anybody can hear me if you're watching. If you can comment, if you can hear this. I'm going to play this for a few minutes. This is from Alex Jones, and this guy's Lionel, deep state investigator Lionel. This was really great. So if this doesn't work, you're going to have to look it up yourself. But he's talking about the coup, and he lays it out so well. You have to listen to this guy. Like I say, if you can comment, if you can hear the sound or not, I would really appreciate that. Okay, I'm stopping it right there because I don't remember. I don't know if you can hear me or not, or hear him. So I'm just going to look for his graphic that he was showing in the first one. I don't know. He was showing a graphic, and I thought it was really good. And it laid it all out. You know what? Maybe I'll play this tomorrow night. But anyway, what he's laying out is exactly what's been going on. And maybe I'll just go through my bookmarks here and show you some of the stuff that has been going on. Let's see here. Well, this is interesting. I'm going to bring, you know what, I'm just going to go through because I don't think the video is working as far as the audio is concerned, but Sean.sgt retired. It turns out CFIA used the lowest caliber they could to shoot over 250 ostriches. Below is the casing from one of the piles found on the farm. It is a 22 WMR. I'm not too sure what that means. Illegal to hunt with a grossly undersized for 300-pound animals. Imagine hunting a deer or a bear with this, but this is exactly what the CFIA did. Inhumane to say the least, this is further proof they broke the law and caused unnecessary suffering on these birds. No wonder it took over 900 shots to put them down. Not all at the same time. Someone needs to be held accountable. Well, if that's the case, yes, 100% that needs to be. I thought this was also really interesting. I just heard this or just saw this tonight. This is, it looks like about 2 hours ago, possibly, from the Hodge twins. And they have retweeted this tweet or this post from Donald Trump. Even Trump knows Bondi is a fraud. I have to read this out to you because it's so extraordinary. Pam, I have reviewed over 30 statements and posts saying that essentially same old story as last time, all talk, no action. Nothing is being done. What about Comey, Adam, Shifty Schiff, Letitia? They're all guilty as hell, but nothing is going to be done. Then we almost put in Democrat-supported U.S. attorney in Virginia with a really bad Republican past, a woke rhino who was not never going to do his job. That's why two of the worst Dem senators pushed him so hard. He even lied to the media and said he quit and that he had no case. No, I fired him, and that there is a great case, and many lawyers and legal pundits say so. Lindsay Halligan is a really good lawyer and he likes you a lot. He can't delay any longer, or we can't delay any longer. It's killing our reputation and our credibility. They impeached me twice and indicted me 5 times over nothing. Justice must be served now. President DJT. You know what? He normally answers, thank you for your attention to this matter, but Anyway, that was interesting. I mean, because we can all see that Pam Bondi is not doing anything. Diana Steele, this is her post. I don't know if she's in Edmonton, but she's posting about Edmonton. Normal people give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish and you feed him for a lifetime. City of Edmonton, you get a fish, you get a fish, everybody gets a fish until the money runs out. We're choosing perpetual dependency over sustainability. Edmonton is a complete disaster. I know it. And it is not looking good. Okay, one of the horrifying things. So yes, anyway, you know what's happened. You may or may not know what's happened with the seditious six. I've had a couple of interviews where we talked about that. Things are coming out like mad as far as uncovering the coup d'état orchestrated by Obama, and the information is coming out fast at a fast and furious pace. Oh, let's see here. I don't want to play that. I wish. Oh no, you know what? You can actually watch. We've got closed captioning on this. Land acknowledgements are a horrible idea and must end. This is wow. Very good. If hopefully you heard that. If not, it was very good. Let's see here. Benny Johnson is exposing this Jasmine Crockett because she's announcing her Senate run. Now feels like the perfect time to revisit our reporting, exposing where she's really from. She's built her entire career about ghetto girl from the hood. The truth, her upbringing was the complete opposite of what she claims. Here's the real story behind Jasmine Crockett. What? Anyway, I'm really unsure if you can hear anything here. But it seems to all be unraveling as far as the lies, the election in 2020. That is going to be unraveling because Venezuela, where they're invading today, or where they're invading right now, seems to be the crux, and seems to be the where this whole coup d'etat, the stolen election, really came from. And that's all coming out. So a number of things. You know what? These are all videos where there's some audio, but Berlin police. Interesting. John Barlow. This is a really good post if you get a chance to look at it. And you know what? This is where I'm gonna leave it off at. So we're gonna leave it off like this. So if you want to build a better home, a better place, a better nation, my suggestion is that you get activated. You talk to your neighbors, talk to your friends, and we all start talking about the benefits of Alberta sovereignty. So that's, you know, our Alberta pension plan, the draw that we're going to create. It is going to be a massive magnet for prosperity. Businesses are going to be flocking to Alberta, and then people are going to want to come here. We are going to shut down the immigration of people that are useless and that are not going to be helpful to our province. I'm sorry if you're offended, get the frick out. We're done taking in immigrants and paying them X amount of dollars to be here. If you want to be here, you're going to have to jump over some barriers. You're going to have to jump through some hoops. You're going to have to learn English. These are some of the things that we are going to demand from people moving forward, because this is going to be the greatest place, and people are going to be desiring to show up in Alberta and to raise their family, because it is going to be the freest place on the earth. Thank you, Lord. Thank you for giving us the strength, and thank you for being here with me. God bless you all. Make sure to share this out there. Get some more eyeballs on this information. Let's stay sane together. Keep your head on a swivel. This is Bruce, and I'm out of here.
Thank you so much for watching Unscrew the News. I appreciate your participation in freedom in Canada. Share this information and help others to wake up. God bless.